Hello and welcome to ET Now Hangouts Season 2. I'm Ankita Saxena. And today I'm in conversation with a founder who has revolutionized the Indian food industry while tapping into the power of technology and embracing the burgeoning online food delivery system. Jaydeep Barman and Kallol Banerjee have turned their cloud kitchen business, Rebel Foods, into world's largest online restaurant company, which is pegged at a value of $1.4 billion. And today I'm in conversation with Jaydeep Barman. Hi Jaydeep, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us on our podcast. And thank you so much for having us over here.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Jaydeep, let's start from the beginning then. Back in the day, in 2011, when you started out the conventional way with Fasos. It did not really work out for you. And then came the idea of a cloud kitchen. Now, back in the day, cloud kitchen was an idea that was almost obscure. What made you take that leap of faith?
Yeah, I think it's a fundamental question about our business. Yeah, we started as a small format, high street format, but then I think 3 years in, we were growing, but we were not making money at the store level. We're losing significant amount of money, and the biggest reason for that was the rental costs. And later on, we realized, this is all hindsight, that India actually is the costliest infrastructure or real estate market on the high street in the world.
Yeah.
As a percentage of sales, it is twice as expensive than US. And that's why you don't have any homegrown QSR chain nationally, right?
Right.
And we were facing the same headwind.
They're only franchises, global franchises.
Global franchises, yeah.
Like McDonald's, there's Domino's, but there's no Indian food chain as such.
Yeah, absolutely. And McDonald's was here, if I'm not mistaken, back in 1995. So
Right.
It took them, 15, 20 years to become profitable and then growing. So it takes, a humongous amount of deep pocket to make it work in India. And that's why, we were also facing the same challenge. We didn't have as deep a pocket. So we were almost, fighting for survival back in 2014. But then, there was one incident I remember. We went to this conference for Sequoia, and the global head of Sequoia was speaking in that conference in Goa, Doug Leone. And he said the job of a CEO or a founder is to remove friction from the business. That's the number one job.
Okay.
So Kallol and I both were there in that meeting, and in the night we were thinking, what is the biggest friction in our business? And then we realized the biggest friction was the rental costs, the real estates. And in any case, we were doing, more than half of our orders through delivery.
Yeah.
So we said, why don't we reduce or remove that friction of rental costs by going back alley, first floor to a kitchen rather than and then deliver the same product and all of that. And, and we did a pilot and it worked. And I guess, and we realized the power of the cloud kitchen, and then it became multi-brand. We can put more brands from the same kitchen because we didn't have a facade. So, things kept evolving from there.
Right.
But that's how we pivoted. Yeah.
Right. But Jaydeep, the interesting part is you said that we had a cloud kitchen and we could, easily give out food without the rental costs. But the fact of the matter is, back in the day, there were also no deliveries or distribution partner, if you will, right? Because that would have been a challenge too, because we did not have Swiggy's or Zomatos of the world. It was, I guess, just Zomato that had just started out. How did you, it was still a big leap of faith, right? Because the distribution would have been a problem.
See, there was always this unorganized delivery market in India, where you'd call up the restaurant and the restaurant will send someone. So when we pivoted from high street to rental, we already were doing, 50% of our sales in delivery.
Okay.
People had our app, or they would go to fasos.com or call up, So delivery was there. And obviously, when the distributors came in, the market sort of exploded.
Yeah.
And that helped us. That was a great tailwind that we had.
Yeah.
But there were initial signs of this working.
Yeah. Jaydeep, there's another interesting innovation that you did, and that was when you started out Fasos, you were selling rolls and you realized that the profits were not sustainable, so you started selling pizzas. Now, that did not work, and that was when the inflection point came. You started a specific cuisine brand, the Oven Story, and you realize perhaps that if you're more specific with the cuisine, it sells more, like a McDonald's selling a burger, KFC selling chicken. How has being specialized in a specific cuisine helped you break the clutter or perhaps even capture market share?
Absolutely. If you ask me what are the two insights that drove Rebel Foods, this is one of them. Because we had an operating system, which is a kitchen technology, etc., we could make many products. Like, for example, if you go to a 5-star hotel, there is an Italian restaurant, there is a Asian restaurant, there is an Indian restaurant, but the central kitchen is the same. So we had the kitchen, so we could make different types of food. But we realized through the Fasos experiment, as you said, that in food, one brand is equal to one product. Right? So people don't believe that McDonald's can make a great salad, But not many people know McDonald's used to own Chipotle. There was a time McDonald's was the owner of Chipotle.
Okay.
Yum Brands has KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, all, one company, but 3 brands.
Yeah.
That's because there is no famous multi-cuisine restaurant in the world. So that was a very specific insight that our business was built on. That in food, one brand, one product. So that's how Beirut is biryani, Oven Story is pizza, Smoor is chocolate, Lunchbox is lunchbox, Fasos is wraps. That's how we did it. So that's one insight. The other insight, it's actually a long story, but very, very succinctly, in food, people are not segments. They go between one use case to the other. Okay. Sometimes they will have a 20 rupee chai, but they'll also spend 10,000 rupees in a 5-star hotel along with family. So that's the other insight. So we realized from the same kitchen, we can cater to different use cases in a person's life. And the whole model of Rebel Foods was built on these two insights.
Right. There's another interesting thing, actually, interesting part of your business model, and that is you have multiple brands that are also overlapping each other. Like you have Behroz Biryani, you also have Biryani Life, and so on. Other brands are also overlapping each other. Now, having a specialized brand for a particular cuisine and then having another brand for the same cuisine, is that strategy to capture larger share of the market through volumes? Shed some light on that.
Yeah, that's the second insight I was talking about. Yeah. So, most consumer goods, be it, soap, shampoo, cars, there are different segments of people, like mass, premium, luxury. Louis Vuitton bag is luxury, but, Samsonite probably premium and so on.
Yeah.
And customers are segments. But in food, customers are not segments. Their use cases are.
Okay.
So the same person will order a 150 rupee lunch and will spend a couple of thousand rupees during the weekend with family, right? So we realized that in a simple 2x2, if you have to think about the food market, single serve and group serve on one axis and value and luxury on the other axis. Your single serve value is your weekday lunch. Groups of luxury is a weekend dinner. Now, the interesting thing is, people order for weekday a single serve small biryani. But for weekend, they want to splurge, they want to order a fancy big bucket of biryani for family. If it is the same brand, then people don't associate one brand with both the occasions.
Okay.
So that's the second layer. One is brand is equal to product, but even within that product, there is a use case differentiation. Single serve value versus groups of luxury. So Beirut is groups of luxury and the Biryani Life is single serve value.
Okay.
So that's how we thought about where to put each of our brands to address different use cases in a customer's food life.
Okay, interesting. Talk to us about now the competition that's coming in from quick commerce or delivery platforms, because there are now lots of cloud kitchens. Now, cloud kitchens, which was almost an obscure concept back in the day, and you had an early movers advantage. But now there is a boom. It's a burgeoning industry right now, especially after COVID, because COVID, of course, shut down the restaurants, and then people realized the value of having a cloud kitchen. Talk to us about the competition.
Yeah, one of my favorite business books is this book called Seven Powers by Hamilton and Helmer. And anybody trying to understand defensibility, competitive moats should read this. Should be a required reading in business schools, I feel. So there are many types of moats, like against competition. Brand is one, unique resource, scale economies, etc. I believe in our business, there were two moats that we have built over time.
Okay.
So one is the brand. Like today, in 75 cities and in UAE, you open any food delivery app, you will see Behroo's. And it's one of the highest rated biryani brands in India today. For someone to start a brand and to get to 80 cities or 100 cities and create that consistency and everything will take a lot of time. There could be local competitions coming up here and there, but at scale, the power that we have is the brands either we have built or we have, licensed. Like for example, Wendy's, it's world's second largest burger brand. We today have the master franchisee for Wendy's in India. So brand is a power that is very difficult to dislodge, and we are building that. The second is, I think, even more difficult, which is, if you have a lot of capital, you can put a few cloud kitchens. But in the last 12 years, we have perfected our supply chain, our processes in our kitchen. So in all 100 or 450 locations across the world, the biryani is made in the same way, using a particular set of equipment and process. Replicating that is not easy. I'm not saying nobody will be able to do it, but competition are actually good in a sense that it keeps us on our toes and we makes us continuously innovate. But the brand power and the process power are two moats that we built over time, and we believe that it will help us.
Okay. You also have a distribution platform, EatSure. It's a one-stop shop for all your brands, right? Talk to us about that platform, the revenue versus the revenue that you perhaps generate from other platforms like a Swiggy or a Zomato.
I think about 1/3 of our revenue comes from EatSure.
Okay.
And then the rest from Swiggy, Zomato, IRCTC. We deliver to railways. We do a lot of OH, like, we did the Lollapalooza show. We did, we do all the Diljit Singh shows, etc. So there are a lot of avenues through which our revenue come from. 1/3 of all revenue is EatSure.
Okay.
And then the primary premise of that platform is this is the only food delivery platform where you can order a biryani and a pizza together. You can't do it on any other platform. You have to place two different orders. They'll come at separate times.
Right. In that sense, yeah.
Two delivery fees. But here you can order a biryani, pizza, and a dessert and a coffee all together.
Interesting. Also, talk to us about your expansion plans, your omni-channel approach. You have largely cloud kitchens, but you're also planning offline expansions as well. With Oven Stories already has stores. What are your offline expansion plans?
We are making baby steps.
Okay.
We believe there are two formats in which offline may work, and we are seeing some green shoots. So one is brand stores.
Okay.
Which is today we have about 15 Wendy's stores and about a couple of Oven Story stores. But we are also trying to make an offline food court with all our brands together.
Interesting.
So today we have about 5 of them.
Yeah. Like an EatSure or offline.
Oh, EatSure offline, exactly. But very digital. You use your app to order. Yeah. And because there is a cloud kitchen attached to it.
Okay.
And we have 5 of them. The early signs are tremendous, in fact, much better than what we expected. We'll see how it grows.
Okay. Also, you've raised funds like 6 months back. Temasek was an investor. Tell us about how do you hope to use these funds? What are your expansion plans for another fundraise? Also, we had heard some IPO plans. You're planning to IPO in 2025. Are you on track for that?
See, on the Temasek round, a large part of that round was actually secondary.
Okay.
So we gave partial exits to a lot of our backers who were there from the beginning, like Sequoia, now Peak, and a couple of others. A part of the funds, of course, is deployed towards rolling out more kitchens. This year we are going to put another 75 kitchens in India as well as in UAE. On fundraise, we are well capitalized to execute on our plans. So there is no immediate sort of fundraise plan for us. On IPO, we believe between 18 to 24 months, we would be gunning for an IPO, but you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner, maybe later.
Also, through your experiences, through your learnings, through your failures, what should be in a founder's playbooks for all the young startup founders who are watching? What would be your advice?
I would say probably two.
Okay.
There were many mistakes and many failures and many learnings, but the two that really stand out, the first one is creating a platform rather than a product. Because when you are able to build a platform, it gives you a lot of flexibility to move along with the times.
Yeah.
Like for example, we started with Fasos, but when we transformed that into a platform, we could launch more brands, we could license other brands, we can acquire brands and plug them in. During COVID, we could do things that others would find very difficult, launching new products, etc. So I believe whatever we do, whatever industry, wherever we start, if we have a platform view, it gives us more wiggle room. And starting up is not easy. And I won't do it again if I have to do it again. It's really tough, but that's one. The second is your initial team.
Okay.
I think, I was telling you earlier that we recruited 8 people back in 2012. We recruited 8 of them. 5 of them are still here running the company pretty much. The 3 others went out and started their own
startups. Yeah.
And I think that really taught me a big lesson. Before recruiting these people, I was trying to recruit from Domino's, from McDonald's and places like that. And those didn't work out because I realized that I was getting people who were like in an industry for 20 years, and they had a very, let's say, a very in the box thinking. But we needed to think like customers. We needed to innovate and all of that. So the team that we could assemble back in 2012, 2013 could solve us through many ups and downs, many mistakes, etc. And we, there's a saying at Rebel that we grew together, we also balded together, and I think that has been the best part of this journey, that building it with your mates almost, and with your team, and that's how your journey will become bearable, sometimes fun. And all of that. So
So great advice there, and actually great. It has been an incubation of sorts for other founders as well. Great
not
founders.
only outside but also inside.
Inside.
A lot of people started new line like EatSure. A couple of years back, one team just raised their hand and said, "We will do EatSure." Someone says, "Okay, we'll launch a new brand." So there is opportunity for people to start even within Rebel. Start a new market. Start a new geography, start a new service line, start a new channel. So there are lots of ways people within Rebel can start on their own.
Right. So we've spoken about the good part. Jaydeep, let's talk about the challenges also. Challenges, what have you learned from your failures, and also challenges now in the current landscape, because it is a tough landscape right now. Like I mentioned, with quick commerce coming in, a lot of cloud kitchens there. What are your challenges today?
See, one challenge is that as we are getting more and more distributed, like today we are in India, we are in 80 cities, 20 more cities coming this year. It means our culture has to be the same in every kitchen. From Jammu, we have our northernmost kitchen in Jammu, back in Calicut, down south. from Guwahati to Ahmedabad. The
It has to
culture
be standardized.
that's one. Process standardization easier.
Yeah.
But the culture standardization.
Okay.
The people working in these kitchens, they have to feel the same way as I am thinking about things, about our customers and our integrity and all those things. So that is always at the top of my mind. If we are like a tech company in one office, then probably this wouldn't be that big a challenge. But keeping this culture, keeping that one thread across the company is a challenge, not only for us, but any distributed business. And a lot of our time is going. So we started we call our restaurant managers Chief Delight Officers.
Okay.
So they are the, CEOs of the kitchen with a focus on delighting the customer.
Okay.
And we've created a CDO development program where, people with 10th pass, 12th pass background, they go through this program, they know how to run a P&L, they know how to manage people, how to run inventory. So we are trying to create small CEOs out of these people. So that I would say is the biggest one, always on top of our mind.
Absolutely. That's great, in fact. That's great culture within a startup, building small startups and little CEOs there. But more power to you for that, Jaydeep. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on our podcast.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.